Are we ready?
Call this meeting to order at 1:05, and Mr. King, would you do the invocation, please?
Please stand with me. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day and this wonderful gift of life. Dear Lord, I ask that you reach down your heavenly hand and guide and show us your mercy. Lord God, just thankful for things today. I'm thankful for life. I'm thankful for my mother who's here with me today. Thankful for all mothers, Father God. Ask that you reach into our hearts and fill it with joy and love and mercy, that we may be kind to one another. I'd ask that you bless this Cherokee nation and guide it in the right direction. We ask these things in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Meredith Fraley.
Here.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Arthur Connor. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin.
Here.
Bill Johnson. Taylor King.
Aye.
John Keener. Jackie Ball Martin. Linda O'Leary.
Present.
Yolanda Shophouse. David Thornton. Kirk Cowan Watts.
Honey.
Phyllis Sargent.
We have a quorum. Next item is approval of minutes of the June 1st regular session.
So moved.
Second. Moved and second. Any discussion on June 1st regular session minutes? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The special section, June 6th meeting. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next are reports, the Marshal Service. Mr. Baker.
Madam Chairman, if I could quickly amend the agenda, there are a couple of items that came in late. I'm sponsoring one of them, but I'm really not. I'm just officially I am, but Todd wrote it, but he and Callie devised it to keep her in compliance with the law, and basically all this one will do is not put the 1.75% on transfers within the nation. And so I'd like to amend the agenda for it, and then
Under
there's
new business, Mr.
under new business, under maybe
Item
call it
two.
item 2.
Okay.
And then there's one Todd Henry and Diane Hammond wrote for Taylor, and it's court procedures. So at this time, I'd like to move this.
That's on here.
Oh, it's on.
That's on here.
Then I stand corrected. Just this one is the only one
The
that's
one
not a second.
on fiscal policy, item 2.
Yes.
Moved and second. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Ms. Wright? Marshal Service?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know you've missed me the last couple of times, I can tell. GEG is still an ongoing investigation with us, and the investigators on that have been meeting regularly each month, and they're saying they're moving forward. Of course, the details of that is still under Rule 6E, but it is, for your information, still moving forward. We have 4 embezzlement cases by employee, 1 each at the casino, the Outpost, West Siloam Casino. We also got a guilty verdict in federal court on an embezzlement of that a poker dealer embezzled $3,300, and he is awaiting sentencing. We've had 3 child sexual assaults. 2 of them are in federal court. 1 is in tribal court, and they are from the Mays, Delaware County area. And the narcotics investigations, we've got 3 in Cherokee County, 2 in Adair County, and 2 in Wagner County this past month. The majority of those were possessions of CDS or possession of marijuana. There was 1 that a county asked us to come in on, and I believe that was Wagner County, and clean up a lab they had come across. And we are still the only ones on this side of the state that are still lab certified, so they call us in because they have no one else. And then we had one that was in actual manufacturing. And out of those 7, there were 3 that were in possession of firearm and a commission of a felony. So that was the narcotics for the month. Security is assisting with the health with the Muskogee Clinic. We've had someone steal a lot of copper from there. There's no night security there, so our security officers are going to start trying to, or not start, they started 2 weeks ago to place someone there after hours, after construction quits, until construction begins, to maintain the safety of the construction site. They also assisted with the election commission during the election, as far as being at the election office during that time period, and assisting them however they could assist. With the community area, they had a horseshoe tournament, first annual, hopefully, and it was a community-sponsored event, but horseshoe tournament in Bell. We assisted with the open house at Cherokee on the new safe house that they just got started. We had 3 officers attend the gang conference. Actually, 2 of them was our officers, and 1 was the investigator with the prosecutor's office. And because we are not doing the same things with the Head Starts because some school's out, that officer that's up in Mays County, Nowata County, and Delaware County, he is doing the read to kids in the daycare centers that are tribally ran. So that's what he's doing through the summer months, and he started that. And we've recertified within the DARE program, so we can continue that next year. And then as far as the program, and I know you were concerned about this, Kara, our domestic violence grant ended, and so we've been able to continue doing the information and resource information given by the officers. We've continued the training of other officers in other counties and our own, but we had lost that victim witness coordinator since we wanted to not let the program quit doing that. We talked to our staff, and we had 3 staff volunteer to go through the training so that it would be another job assigned, and that way no one person would get overburdened. So they've all went through the training now. They need to get some experience level, so they want to talk with the U.S. Attorney's Office Victim Witness Coordinator, attend some court sessions in both federal and tribal court, do some of those issues before they actually start being called out on any domestic violence or rape or any of those things. So our target date is August 1st for those 3 individuals to be called out for helping victims of violent assault. And that's all I've got today.
Ms. Calwatt?
Thank you. On the domestic violence situation, what is our caseload annually, monthly, or annually about? Do we need to have a full-time position?
I don't know, and I can get you the information on our stats prior to us not having someone on call. But I do know that one of the issues, especially in rural America, is that a lot of those people do not know the court process, and it's not just domestic violence, it's any violent assault, so you're helping the families also. And that's one of the things we prided ourselves on, that it wasn't an individual victim, it was the family. They don't have a way to get to court, they don't know the court process, they get scared away from that. And I believe that and I'll get you the stats on that, but when Ms. Leston was here, she was pretty proactive in trying to find who was needing her help, but I think she had a caseload of maybe 6 in a month. You think that's not a lot, but when you're transporting them back and forth to court and trying to help them do it's time consuming. And I didn't have one person I could spare to do that, so the ladies in the office, I've got 4 of them, 3 volunteered to go through the training and split their duties so that they could absorb being alternated through. But I'll try to get those for you.
Thank you, Madam. You said this will go into effect, they've had their training, and more or less this is going to affect August the 1st. So if anybody needs those services, picking up August the 1st, they would be able to
Call the dispatch office and they'll, actually, the victim witness coordinator through us have always been called out through the chief investigator. So if they ask for him and say, okay, I've got someone who needs help with a protective order and those issues, they can help. And then the others is they're called out through the investigator, because usually they're the ones who are on the scene where the assault happened.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, good report. Diane Hammonds, Justice Department.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Council. Good afternoon. Apologize for my informal appearance. Today is Richard Osborne's last day at the Cherokee Nation. He is going to the the Ojibwe, to be an assistant AG. So we had a little get-together for him at lunch, and we all wore our OU garb, so that's why I'm dressed the way I am. He's a big OU fan. I gave you a written report. Let me hit some of the highlights of it. As you know, we worked with an outside counsel, the Org firm, in preparing the argument for the preliminary injunction motion that was heard that would have sought to stop our June 23rd election, cut off our federal funding, and sever the United States government-to-government relationship with the nation. And of course, that was unsuccessful. Another big win for us this past month has been a lawsuit that Mr. Morton handled in-house for us. It was a lawsuit in the Eastern District of Oklahoma, filed against some local state law enforcement officers, and also naming one of our Cherokee Nation marshals who had assisted in that. We obtained the dismissal of that lawsuit against the Marshal Service and the other Cherokee Nation entities that were named based on sovereign immunity. We feel like that's a big win. This is a judge that has now ruled and upheld our sovereign immunity twice in cases in front of him. So that's a big win, not just for that lawsuit, but for recognition of the doctrine itself. In going with what Marshal Wright was saying, we're continuing to work on our reorganization. I think we've about got all of human resources questions answered, so hopefully that will be finalized. In that reorganization under the Attorney General's office, we have a full-time victim witness coordinator position. Obviously it hasn't been filled yet, but hopefully maybe at the beginning of the next fiscal year we can start hiring for that and work with the Marshal Service in coordinating those 2 positions. I wanted to talk a little more in depth about the different Freedman cases and the status, although I expect that probably most of you know the status of them. As you know, there's the federal district lawsuit in the District of Columbia. That's the Van case. That's the one that I just mentioned. The status of that currently, we had filed a motion to dismiss, and the plaintiffs have not responded. They have until the first week in July to respond, so that case proceeds. There's also an appeal in the circuit court, in the federal circuit court up there, on the December 2006 order entered by the judge in that case, and that appeal also continues. Then in the tribal court, the 300-plus plaintiffs, petitioners who appealed their registration, the letters from registration telling them that they were no longer citizens, That period of time ended last week, so now we have to answer. Our answer date is next week, so that case is proceeding as well. I think those are the highlights that I wanted to tell you. If you see Mr. Osborne, have a chance to wish him well, I would encourage you to do so. He has served us well, and we're all very proud of him. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Hammonds? If not, thank you for the report. Is there anyone here from the Election Commission?
I'm assuming that they are preparing for the recount.
Okay. Ms. Morton did send over the results of the June 23rd election. If you don't have it, Gail can get it for you. Next is Tax Commission, Sharon Swepston.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I've left a couple of reports, I think, in your stack of information. On the sheets for the month of May for motor vehicle, we're about 1.56% up on our revenues just for that month comparison to last year. Year to date, it's about a 6.5% increase year to date from 2006 to 2007 through the month of May. In tobacco, for April, we're down almost 1%, but overall year to date, we're up 32.18%, and that's mainly due to the retail, the alcohol, and the surtax. The cigarette tax is down, the refund from the state's down, and that has mostly to do with things that I mentioned a couple months ago about the retail-to-retail sales on that. I also passed out a little booklet here that's it's an annual report on the Tax Commission. Hopefully it just has some good information in it for you all. It talks about, the 5-year distribution, a comparison of what we've done, and it goes through and gives you a 2006 summary of our registrations and our fees. And then it goes on to give you a 5-year comparison of each type of vehicle that we register and everything in there. So I know there's a lot of information in there, and in the very back there's a little history on the Tax Commission itself in the very back of your book. And there's also some milestones listed on the last page there. So hopefully this is just good information for you about the Tax Commission, and we'll try to continue to put something together like that on an annual basis for you.
That's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's really all I have today, unless you have questions or comments.
Yeah, Mr. Martin?
Thank you. Sharon, I think last month you gave us before, maybe the month before last, that you had sent letters to other state tag agencies and whatever, what the response was any.
Last month I sent out 5, and then I had a request to send one to Westville, and then I had a request for 2 more, so we sent those out. We've got 3 responses back, and we got asked for an extension on some time for them to be able to do that, so we had given them an extension, so hopefully we will be getting some more of those in, but we've only gotten 3 responses back so far.
Any other questions? Comments? Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Ms. Hadby, self-governance.
Good afternoon. The self-governance report. This past week, we've had several staff from the nation participate in the annual BIA training in Muskogee. We also have a national welfare assistance work group that's being developed, and we will be recommending a representative for that work group. That work group will be working on a new distribution methodology for general assistance. Also, in regards to DOI, we are in the middle of negotiating a new multi-year funding agreement that will spread through for 3 years, 2008 to 2010. In regards to IHS, we received payment of the 2007 funds for Muskogee joint venture. We got that money in the bank.
We're also continuing to work on reconciling our differences on the staffing requirements for the Muskogee joint venture. We've also been working on assisting evaluation and compliance on several projects that they have, including the SAS 112 or the internal control implementation. We attended an overview on that project. We also attended some HUD training for self-monitoring of the NAHASDA program. We will be assisting evaluation and compliance during that self-monitoring report. And that's all I have for today.
Any questions or comment, Ms. Hamby? Thank you. Jamie Hummingbird, Gaming Commission. Hi, Jamie.
Good afternoon. How are you, Madam Speaker?
Hi, thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm going to try to make my report brief but spectacular. Everybody laughs. First, let me go ahead and report on an ongoing issue, and that is the NIGC's recent efforts on rulemaking. We have completed, through an advisory committee process, a set of technical standards that will be used for Class II gaming machines. What we have been asked to do now is been asked to serve as a resource for another committee that's developing internal controls, which will be used to make sure that the machines are operating properly. The NIGC has a very aggressive timetable on this, in that they want to have the internal controls done by the end of July. That process took us on another advisory committee back in 2001 about 14 months to do. So now they're wanting to cram about a year's worth of work into 30 days. I'm not going to vouch for what's coming out of that, or if they're extremely married to that proposition or not, but we'll see. If that is the case, then you can expect some hefty rules coming down as of around mid-August. The second thing is something that you might have heard about in the news recently. As of yesterday, Senator Dorgan called a committee hearing for the Senate Indian Affairs Committee on a piece of legislation that he is authoring. That legislation deals with two things. One is it provides for what they call, or what we call, a CRIT fix. Colorado River Indian Tribes makes up CRIT. And what happened with CRIT is the NIGC tried to go into a Class 3 casino and try to assert itself and try to assert its regulation in Class 3 arena. CRIT told them no. IGRA does not allow for that. The NIGC slapped them with a fine and a violation, and after several court hearings, several appeals court hearings as well, the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. ruled that NIGC has no role or authority in Class 3. Ever since that time, that's been about 2 years ago, there have been various people on the congressional side or even in the NIGC that have been seeking what they call a CRIT fix that would give the NIGC that authority. This is as of yesterday, being kicked around one more time. In addition to that, the second piece is that this legislation is also calling for the formation of a negotiated rulemaking committee that would consist of tribal representatives and of representatives from NIGC. It's yet to be apparent whether or not that legislation is going to make it. I'm not seeing a lot of support for it just yet, but that CRIT fix has been on the mind of a number of congressional members from California to Florida to Washington to Oklahoma. So we'll continue to follow that legislation. And lastly, the Fort Gibson facility, again, if you haven't seen it, it is currently undergoing a bit of expansion. And in fact, as soon as I get done here, I've got one other administrative duty to attend to, and then I'm going to be going over to the Fort Gibson facility to see how close they are to getting open. They're shooting to get open by Sunday. We're going to be doing a final walkthrough tomorrow evening to see whether or not that's going to be feasible. Right now, all the indicators are they're well on their way to make that deadline, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. If they do, that will amount to about another 108 machines that will be available to the public over the 4th of July holiday. So I know they're working hard to get that facility in shape. Some brief numbers for you, because I always like to throw out some of the things. Sharon's always got the good numbers, so I try to come behind her and fill in some stuff here. So far this year, just through the 5 months of May, we have through the compact paid into the state nearly $7.5 million. Year to date, or life to date, on the compact, we provided almost $29 million to the state under the compact. In gaming licenses, we're up to almost 2,500 employees. We have a total of 3,974 games across all properties, 59% of which are compact games. That translates into 2,344 compact machines. And we're holding steady at 135 tables across all properties. So, with that, I'll take any questions or...
Any questions for Jamie? It's not a good report, Jamie.
Thank you.
Todd, do you have any update on codification?
Yes, what we have planned on doing is within the next week or so, after we get through the holiday, now that we have now, hopefully, knock on wood, have a lull in our legal activity, we're going to have a meeting that will, at a minimum, include myself, Ms. Knight, or Secretary Knight, Ms. Hammonds. We would want the chair and co-chair of rules to be a part of it, and also a member of the Oklahoma City University law faculty to map out a timeline to make sure that we set our goal of completion of this project by the beginning of the fiscal year. It would be very, I think, beneficial to the next term as to, boom, you get Legistar started, and then closely right on the heels of that, a new codification completion done. So that is our plan, and in the next, we will start organizing that meeting immediately, so expect some calls. And obviously, when we get the date set, we will let all counselors know, and anybody and everybody would be welcome to attend.
Great, thanks. Ms. Hammonds again on GEG.
I don't think I have anything much further to add to what Marshall Wright said, other than to just reiterate to you that Mason Morton in our office continues to talk to the investigator at the Marshal Service and on a regular basis and coordinate with him, and he provides us updates about what's going on in the investigation.
Any questions on GEG? Linda?
Diane, is anybody else involved in this investigation that you know of at a different level?
Here,
Or in the state? Any state entity of investigations?
I don't know of any state entity that's
Or
involved.
federal?
There are federal entities involved.
Say it again.
There are federal entities involved.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions, comments? Thanks, Diane, for the update. Next item of business is old business, Corporation Reform Act.
This time I'd like to permanently pull it to review it and bring it forward later.
Okay, but bring that forward later.
Just pull this one permanently.
Okay. Next item is an act providing for sanctions and punishment for individuals that commit intentional misrepresentations.
Yes. I'll table that.
Okay.
Second.
Move to table and second.
Madam Chair, is that table until next month or indefinitely, or?
The second one is tabled
Table for now.
indefinitely.
Okay, thank you.
Next item is an act amending the court and procedures.
You need to take a vote on the table.
Oh, sorry. Well, listen, I'm trying to hurry, Todd. All in favor of tabling item 2, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Excuse me. Item 3 is an amendment to the court and procedures. Mr. Hembry, have we all reached an agreement on that yet?
Yes, we have, Madam Chairman. Before you is a modified draft of the act that was vetoed. The changes is that we took out the language that involved writs of habeas corpus and other subsidiary writs, and because there is a debate of whether that is exclusive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court or not, pursuant to Article 8, Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution. Decided not to settle that question. What we'll do is just say the Supreme Court has jurisdiction on all matters that is set forth in Article 8, Section 4, and any case or controversy involving Cherokee Nation elections that has first been addressed by the Cherokee Nation Election Commission and or which is specifically provided for by statute, and also any dispute between the branches of the government of the Cherokee Nation. I believe that satisfies the Chief's concerns. It accomplishes what the intent of the Act was intentionally intended for, and I would recommend its passage. Mr. Keene, Councilman Keene, is the sponsor, and he would provide any additional comments.
Ms. Callen-Watts and then Mr. Keene.
Before we close discussion, I'd just like the opportunity to hear from the Secretary of State, Melanie Knight, and our Attorney General, Diane Hammond. If they would care to speak to either.
We have worked with Mr. Hembry on this. Another thing that we did, there was a question as to whether or not it would affect pending litigation. It would not, and we have put in an effective date at the beginning of the fiscal year, I believe, October 1st. So that ought to clarify that it wouldn't affect anything that's pending in any court now. So we have worked together to try to resolve all the issues.
Melanie, did you have a comment?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Madam Speaker.
Callen-Watts, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Mr. Keene?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been a wonderful exercise in teamwork, and I appreciate Melanie's and Diane's work on this, and just move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is an act, so roll call.
Earl Angren,
No.
L. John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Audra Connor,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin, Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Taylor Keene,
Yes.
John Keener,
Yes.
Jackie Bob Martin,
Yes.
Linda O'Leary,
Yes.
Melvina Shophouse,
Yes.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Carol Callen-Watts,
Yes.
Phyllis Yardsey.
Yes.
Have a quorum. Not a quorum. Majority.
15 yea, 1 nay.
15 to 1. Motion carries. It's been a long 2 weeks. Next item is new business. Item 1 is an act relating to accountability of elected officials of the Cherokee Nation. Who's that one? Todd?
Ms. Watts, are you going to withdraw that?
Yes.
What was that?
I'd like to withdraw it at this time, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam
Draw
Speaker.
item 1. Okay, item 2 is the fiscal policy legislation. Mr. Baker?
Yes. As in amending the agenda, I pointed out, this is just to keep Cali legal, and to and basically all it really does is excludes the budgeting transfers between funds in the 1.75% reserve. So I'd move for its approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? Is that an act?
It is an
Yeah.
act.
Roll call, please.
Acclamation.
Act by acclamation?
Yes.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Do we have any announcements? Next
Yes.
meeting? Oh, sorry, Jack.
Yes, we lost one of our original enrollees yesterday, Mary Welch O'Kay from Westville. Her funeral will be 2 o'clock Monday at the First Baptist Church in Westville.
Thank you, Jack.
Will we adjourn?
Oh, just a moment.
Do you know about how many we have left?
No, but the youngest will be 101.
Really? Wow.
They're on me at all.
I have a motion to adjourn, and a second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Boy, you're good.
I know it's 22.